Really quick, before we get started, if you are blessed by this ministry, if you're blessed by this platform, anything that I bring to the table, I ask you to partner with me via Patreon. Go to patreon.com/truthseeker and you unlock rewards, my entire discography of music, webinars, meditations, weekly hangouts, and so much more. Patreon.com/truthseeker. Go check it out.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the Truth Seeker podcast.
Gargoyles, psychics, everything's ungodly. Dark Savage.
Streaming live at truthseeker.com.
She's not a Christian.
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark sided stuff.
And now, your host, Truth Seeker.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Truth Seeker podcast. I'm your host, Truth Seeker. Excited and delighted to be with you again today. My guest is Michael Kameron. We're going to be talking about his new book and his spiritual, supernatural, UFO encounters, and it's going to be fun. Michael, welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
Hello there. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here.
Good to have you, man. Your new book is High Strangeness.
It is.
And that was put out through Philip Mantle's publishing company, correct?
Yeah, Flying Disc Press.
Awesome. Yeah, I've interviewed a couple of the people that put out works through him, and we just lost what is his name from Pascagoula.
Yeah, Calvin Parker.
Calvin Parker. Yeah, I was able to interview him in person. He lived less than 30 minutes away, so I was able to go there in person and meet him. Yeah, so that was cool, and he
was a lovely guy.
He worked with Philip and Flying Disc, and they put out some amazing work for sure.
Yeah, I think it's still ongoing, isn't it, and continuing. I mean, he was a lovely guy.
Yeah, did you ever get a chance to speak with him?
Only briefly, probably last year I did, but it was a very brief time. You know, I actually wanted to meet him, but I didn't get the opportunity to at the time.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a shame, but
he was nice.
I did speak to him briefly, and I do know lots of people that knew him. So
that's cool. Heck yeah. But yeah, we're going to talk about your book and your experiences, and going back to when you were a kid is where a lot of this stuff gets birthed. And definitely for me, it planted something in my mind and my life to kind of put me on a trajectory to ask deeper questions. So for you, where did all this start with these experiences and supernatural, interdimensional beings, UFOs, all of this stuff? Where did it start for you?
Well, for me, it started, I guess, when I was being born into the world again. I often say, at the time when I was being born here, I was my mum's mum, which would be my grandmother on my mum's side. She was passing, again, into, I guess, spirit world. And I often say to people, maybe we met each other on the way. She was on the way back and I was coming back here. And when I was born premature. I was an unexpected child. I was in hospital a long time. But when I did eventually go back to the house, which was a new house, I was brought up in as I said, in a strict Roman Catholic Irish family in a Roman Catholic environment. My dad was a schoolkeeper of a school house, which was built into the grounds of what would be a junior school. And, my book focuses primarily on this location in the East End of London during the 1970s. For most of the activity that has happened to me in early childhood and in my teenage years happened in the house or in the location or within the school itself. So in the house that I was brought up in, or as a baby, we experienced in the house lots of poltergeist activity, which it seems to be associated with this type of phenomena. High strangeness with in the house itself. When I was basically in my cot, my parents were seeing things, like orbs flying around or balls of light, which were in the room where I was and my brother Sean. So I talk in the book about my three brothers, Francis, Kevin, and Sean. Sean's 2 years older than me. I'm the youngest. And Francis and Kevin are a lot older than me and Sean. And my brother, my brothers were seeing entities that were basically looking down into my cot when I was a baby. A lot of the activity, what was happening, there was cold spots in various areas that were previously not there. And my mum used to hear disembodied voices when she was alone in the house that were calling her name. And when she turned around, there was nobody there, often causing her to flee from the rooms in fright. I remember there was a time when my brother Francis was laying in bed, and we had a large wooden oak wardrobe, which was really heavy, and it was toppled over on top of him on the bed. But he wasn't hurt, but he was in shock. And Kevin one day was coming up the stairs, and something pushed him down the stairs. He felt something move against him, like a hand or something, knocked him. But he wasn't injured. He was just shot. And there was lots of banging on the walls in the house where we grew up. It was the walls in there were really strong. And so if you were to bang your hand against them, it would produce only the sound of thud, but these were echoing, almost like stereo surround. And my dad used to get up in the middle of the night, and he used to continuously almost every night go downstairs to check. There was nothing there. And when he returned to the bed, the sounds would return. This went on for a while, and I think it's only that they sought, help from the Catholic Church when the activity started to get more, more sinister, where somebody could be seriously hurt. I mean, we had objects that went missing and then reappeared. So eventually a priest come in and, they blessed the house, and it eventually went away, this type of activity. But as for the, I would describe myself as an alien abductee from infancy. I'm a MILAB, which is a military abductee, and also, I guess a spiritual experiencer, which is all tied in with this phenomena. So it incorporates, the MIBs, Men in Black, the shadow people, demonic energies, and other types of entities, along with military projects. But for me, I guess it started with the, on the alien side of it would be when I was about aged 4, Sean was aged 6. And we had an experience ourselves where we witnessed what would, now be called a daylight disc, the classical saucer-shaped craft. So, I talk about that briefly in my book as I go through each narrative, each story. And then, much later on, a little bit after that, I had experiences. One experience that I had that I talk about in the book is when me and Sean are playing in the school grounds, and then we go off and play in the school itself. It's the summer holidays. It's a very hot day. My dad at the time would have been working in the school with clingers, whilst they're getting the school ready over a period of weeks, 6 weeks. And then he goes into the house to have a bite to eat. Me and Sean go into the school, into the main school, and we play hide and seek. And I remember in the book I explained that I go off to hide, and Sean's counting. Somewhere in between that, Sean stops counting. He gets to the at number 5. He's counting to 10, and then I suddenly, I come out. At first, I don't. I think he's trying to trick me, to get me to come out to reveal where I'm hiding. Yeah, so I don't come out straight away, but there's just total silence. And then I eventually do come out, and I see my brother looking what would be through two doors that led into the, where the gymnasium equipment would be. And he's just staring into space, what I think is into space, until I walk towards him and he says, "What's that? What is it?" And then when I look to where he's pointing, inside the school hall itself, there's a piano, and there is this strange looking creature standing there, just staring at us, just looking at us whilst we're looking at it. During those times, there was nothing that we would associate with this type of creature. Growing up, I mean, we just didn't have any influences like that around us, especially in the 1970s. And in a Irish community, Catholic community, our days were mostly associated with going to the church or anything to do related to the church and the school. And this creature would look like, I guess today, which would look closely in the resemblance of what you would find in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The creature that comes out from underneath the big ship, who is, I guess, the leader. The only difference is this one had huge black eyes, and it was very tall, and it had long spindly arms and spindly legs. And at the point of watching it or just staring at it, somewhere in between that, we went into, I guess, an altered state of consciousness, and anything around us, like sounds or anything, that vanished, And as I explained to people, I guess it would be called, the Oz factor, which was coined by the British UFO researcher Jenny Randalls. She coined that phrase, the Oz factor. And then from looking back now, I would say that we did have a loss of time. So, but when I eventually come out of this, I felt I was disorientated, I was scared. But looking through at it's almost like when someone wakes you up when you've been sleepwalking, and you don't know where you are really. And so I'm looking still at where this creature was, but now the creature's gone. My brother, he's still in this type of state of consciousness. But when he eventually snaps out of it, there's this feeling of dread, feeling of terror, that you need to get away from this location quickly. So then we run back to the way that we come into the school, because we were going to go back to the house to tell our parents. But when we were going out towards the doors we come in, my dad was coming in, and then he come up to us, and it was Sean that explained that there was something in the school that wasn't human. And for a short moment, he was, my dad, he was like looking at our faces to see if we were just kidding with him. But obviously he could see that we wasn't. So he went off to investigate. I guess, not looking for anything that's not human, but looking for an intruder. But when he went off, he come back a little while later, and he couldn't find anything. And as he said, that the doors were still bolted from the inside. There was no windows open. There was no glass broken. So, there was nothing there really. I mean, he just said to us after that, to just go off and play again, just stay close to the house, so that we can be seeing. So so there was a series of events that me and Sean did encounter, have experiences together. But then I don't know if Sean continued to have these experiences, you see, but I did. Mine continued, and they still continue to this day. And most of the experiences I had were not positive experiences. So, this is basically what I talk about in my book. I go, the book's more than just, I'm not just telling it, it goes into my life a little bit more, so that the reader can have a little more insight into who I am. So the book's got a lot of detail in it, in some places, in some of it, what I write about is quite sensitive. So it goes into other issues that are, for some people may not think it's related to high strangeness, but in book 2, which I'm writing now, it explains more why I put that in and how I associate it with the MELAB programs. I guess the training of a child.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that was pre-planned, or they took notice that, you know, maybe ships were attracted to your home, that the government can see, like, you know, who the ETs or whatever are watching, and then kind of come in to see those kind of things, versus, because you said you think there was something that happened when you were born, right? This crossing over, this passing of a torch or something. And then you start having these encounters when you're a child, you know, the whole MyLab thing, or when they get, you know, the military induced abductions is what the MyLabs are. And so from my study, it's been a huge, I see them as trying to hijack the phenomena, to keep tabs, or even to create fear and hysteria, so that you won't lean into it, that you won't see it as something pleasant, versus something that was created, like your first initial encounter being a MyLab, or was it? What do you think?
I mean, I did have in the beginning, which I do talk about, I did have experiences what we now know to be the classical Nordics. You know, the tall, blonde, athletic. These were the first ones I had contact with. And, you know, for a while, the experiences seemed quite good. And eventually, when they did vanish from my life, it was then that I had what we now know as the Greys. And the Greys are not, they're not good. They don't have your interests. They don't have the best interests of people at heart. We know that the military, you work with them and, you know, in some cases work against them. But you know, from my understanding of things and what I've been told from outside of the body is that you know, the Greys do, like when you return here, we have contracts that we agree to, these contracts, you know, to in a way like bullet points to cross off certain things in order to grow spiritually, you know, with our associations with people. And there's a lot of the time, as the archangels say, you know, human beings have choice. You know, we don't judge them. It's a choice you make, and whatever choices you make in these situations determine basically how you will grow spiritually, or you will just remain static, I guess, until your awareness increases, or, you know, you hope in your heart more to forgive, you know, people that you have experiences with that in some cases are there to, you know, for us to grow spiritually. But in this case, though, I know that from lifetime to lifetime, we have, you know, we some of us come through certain bloodlines. You know, some of us go, especially starseeds, they go through the ancient mystery schools to learn certain, you know, certain things. And some of them follow military lines that, you know, what would, I guess, could be considered what they call super soldiers. You know, the Vikings, for example, they were considered to some degree by the Roman soldiers, you know, super, in that their skill sets were very highly developed. You know, you had the Knights Templar, again, that were spiritually evolved and associated with various, you know, secret brotherhoods. But what I find with that is that the Greys, the abduction program is a lifelong program that's been going on for centuries. So the same people are reselected over and over and over again. It's very difficult once you're on the programs to get off of them. And normally when you're on them, it will happen to you. It can happen to you as a baby in the womb. You can be monitored by this means, as an infant, as a child, teenager, young adult, mature adult, and very much so leading into death. The programs go on and continue for you. But what happens is when you come back here, a lot of the time you have etheric implants that are inside you, you know, your biochemical field, or, you know, what's surrounding your body. These, you know, even then you pass into, if you want, spirit, when you return here and you have a different body, I mean, the Greys call these containers. The implants, when you come back here, they switch on again. So the Greys, and probably other types of beings as well, but in this case, the Greys, because it's the abduction programs we're talking about, they were able to then detect you and monitor you again. So you're then automatically brought back into these programs. So, for the military, though, I don't think the military are so much jeopardizing them as more working with them. We know that the Greys and the military have, the deep underground military bases, and they work often side by side, and very much so with many other races that don't have the best interests of human beings at heart. A lot of these projects and programs go back before biblical times. The earth is very much a place of interest for a lot of these, negative, if you want, races. They have a lot of business in these places. They do human trafficking. We got the body parts that are associated with these type of beings. The rabbit hole goes really deep, and some people don't want to see what's down that rabbit hole because some of it's not very nice. But on the flip side of the coin, there are positive beings here as well that are interested and very much concerned with our spiritual welfare. And, eventually you'll see much more of these, as we push out the negative ones, as our vibration, planetary vibration, and each one of us, our energy fields increase, become much more lighter and vibrant. You'll see more of these beings. As I was told outside the body to push them out of the earth with frequency, from the heart, I guess, from a higher frequency, because, some of these type of beings can't stay within that type of energy. So, this is how we will move forward, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When the Men in Black experiences happened, how was that for you? When did you first notice that you were being observed by humans? In the Men in Black phenomenon. The Men
in Black happened for me after the entity that we see in the school hall, me and Sean. So Sean, I was in the house alone on this particular night. My parents would have been in the garage, which would have been adjacent to the house. They were actually laying tiles, floor tiles, and Sean was with them at the time. And I was in the house on my own in the kitchen, and I observed, I didn't know what it was back then. I observed this strange-looking man staring at me in the other room, dressed fully in black, and he was just at the time just watching me. I don't know if anything happened in between that, but I do talk about this in the book and how I felt, and it goes into much more detail in there. Yeah. But there have been other times when I've had other experiences with the MIBs, outside of the body. So as I explained to people, a lot of my abductions that I went on to have through my life were outside of the body. The Greys can take you. They can force your etheric body or your astral body outside. They can move it outside. Some of the abductions that have happened especially in the United States, on long roads, people driving in the middle of the night or feel the need to get up and go driving somewhere, then encounter a ship. You have the Greys, and sometimes you have a beam of light that comes from these craft, often hitting the driver or passenger, and then they feel that they're moving through the glass. This is an out-of-body experience where they're forced to come out of their body. And then they experience that missing time, and then they're suddenly back in their body driving on a road, maybe in the wrong direction. This was often the case, back in the 60s and 70s, maybe the 50s even. But we didn't really understand then what that type of technology was. I think we're becoming much more aware now. A lot of us know what out-of-body experiences are. I'm a natural projector. So in my MELAB projects, I would come under an astral operative that are used, for various activities outside of the body. Some people have natural abilities in that, and I think we can all, but as I stress, doesn't make me special in any way, shape, or form. Some people say to me, "Oh, Michael, you're special. You've been chosen." Let me just clarify. I don't feel that I'm special, and I don't feel chosen, because as I said, a lot of my experiences are not good, have not been good. And although I do have a natural ability to do certain things, every one of us can do that. It's just learning how to do it again. That's all. Like remote viewing, everyone can do that. Everyone can travel outside the body. It's just a case of learning. I mean, we do it when we're sleeping.
Yeah.
This is where dreams come from. It's just that we remember them a lot of the time with symbols. Everyone, even if you come outside your body and you're in your immediate location above just floating above your body, or in in the room where you are, but you can obviously travel outside through the roof, or the walls, and fly around your locations, or enter through portals into other dimensions. And everyone can do it, but there are some locations you're not allowed to go. You're just not allowed to go to them. But you'll know once you get there and what you can and can't do.
Do you think that some of this phenomena, whether it's my lab or whether it's abduction, because I'm sure you're aware. I mean, I don't know all of your story, but whenever these things happen, you're not really cognitive in the moment. It's almost like you're drunk or whatever. Like a little bit. It's just like you remember it afterwards. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you remember it the next day, or a dream, or deja vu. Something happens. Do you think that this could be a type of the phenomena where people talk about having these downloads, where they're all automatically, they know all of this stuff, like they're taken and trained in, whether it's on a ship, whether it's in another dimension, wherever, a secret school, if you will, that you don't get it just then. You don't wake up knowing everything. Sometimes you do, right? But comes to you later, like this epiphany, this download of knowledge, that it seems like it's instant, but you were being taught while you were asleep, or taken off world and taught.
Well, a lot of the time, that's correct what you're saying. I mean, a lot of the time we are, especially starseeds, there's a lot more starseeds waking up now. They're learning who they are, and they're learning they have connected with the star systems. They've been here before as starseeds. Yeah. And we very much do get taken outside of the body, but let's just move away a little bit from the negative ones a minute, because let's go more into the positive ones. So a lot of the positive stuff, we do get moved outside of the body. We do go to certain locations to be trained, or to be re-educated in what we already know. It's a case of just remembering, really. I mean, we have this in our DNA. And I think it'll be much more apparent to starseeds as we go on, as we move forward into what would be, a greater spiritual destiny for the earth than what we've previously had. And when I think we reach that stage, it's not yet, but when we do, we'll never go back. We'll never return to what we have, what we were. We just want to go further and further and further. But yeah, we do get uploads and downloads, and I mean, but if we return to the abduction stuff's a little bit different. I mean, we do, some of my memories, as I say in my book, they're marker memories. They're very clear, and I do remember quite a lot. But there is also fragmented memories. So it's like you might remember the beginning or the end, or you might be in the middle. But very much, yeah, there is fragmented memories as well. And, I think there could be two reasons for that. I think one, it could be natural in that the mind is protecting us from trauma. But I do also know, with the Greys especially, and the military, they create string memories, which are deliberately put in front of your mind so that you don't remember the full story.
Yeah.
So they're able to carry on with their insidious, activities hidden away in the dark. But the more that we speak about this phenomena, the more that we make people aware. So I'm, as an abductee and a Lab, as I go on in my podcasts that I've been doing, and hopefully, some conferences maybe later on, I will be more vocal in my my talks about the MILAB projects and programs. And I will be teaming up with other MILABs. I'm also an advocate at the moment, as I said, of the mental and emotional side of this type of phenomena and what happens to abductees. I'm very passionate about that and very protective, obviously. But not only of abductees, it's happening in the paranormal. It's happening with cryptozoology. There's a whole lot of the phenomena, but in the past we separated it, didn't we? We put them in, one there and one there and one there. But now we know that all this phenomena is some way connected. It's all related to one another. And so it's just doing the research, really, and trying to see what each one of us, each one of us holds the puzzle. We hold the jigs, the parts of the puzzle, I guess. Yourself and many of the people listening. We all have
they hold a valuable piece, man. And that's why these talks and discussions are huge, of just talking. It's all we're doing is sharing stories, and you find out that you're not alone. And that's one of the biggest things too. You're talking about being there for the people that are going through it. The simple fact of letting them know that they're not alone, that they're broken, or that they're, they don't have nobody to talk to about any of this stuff. So putting yourself out there strategically, even, it works wonders for helping people. And I love being able to do that, and hear the responses back from some of the stuff that I do. Like I had an amazing connection that I made. So I do music as well. So I do spiritual rap, and I put a lot of this stuff in my music. So I talk about UFOs and, everything in there. And so I just put out a new song recently, and in it, I just mentioned it in passing. I said, some people like to party, get sedated till they're long gone. Me, I hunt for UFOs and film them with my cell phone. And I just threw it in there and just kept it moving, and I do it intentionally. It's a cool little verse, but that's what I do. I have fun doing it, and, contact me if you do too. But
I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. But there was a guy who heard it in Canada who has been having encounters his whole life and filming them and all types of things. And he doesn't have anybody to talk to. Like he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have people online, which we're working to make this normal, right? To make this where everybody you don't feel weird to talk about your experiences. And so it was so cool because he reached out to me. I have a lot of people reaching out, too many people to reach out that I can talk to. That's why we need more people in this. But he reached out, and I wrote him back, and we got to talking, and he was like, man, I didn't know there was anybody else who goes out and does it. So it's just so awesome to be able to strategically, even through a song lyric, or through a podcast, what I'm saying, just help people, to let them know that they're not alone. It really does speak volumes, and to tell them, like, there is a time to talk about it and when not to talk about it, right? On the podcast, let's talk about it. At the dinner table for Thanksgiving, maybe not, and that's where people get put in institutions and get black labeled by the family. And we need to be there for those people and still be able to teach how to, zip it when you need to. There is a time to talk about football or talk about your job or something, right? But it's really helping people.
It's very much, I totally agree with what you said. And music's a great way of doing it, and because people like to listen to music, but when you're putting that in, it could be also, like this guy could be, oh, wait, wow, maybe I could reach out to this guy. This guy might know something. I might be able to talk to him. And this is what's happened. And I think you're going to get a lot more of that. It's a wonderful way to do it. Congratulations to you on that. Yeah,
it's awesome. Well, just any art, and this is an art. Conversation is an art. Extracting questions out of people that they haven't talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like writing a book. All of this is ways to get the information out, and especially music too. Like there's so many people that came before us who, like, that wasn't their thing, like the only thing they were known for. But there were, David Bowie has the song Starman. Like there's a lot of stuff sprinkled throughout. I know I'm an Incubus fan, the band Incubus, and he talks about I'm counting UFOs and I signal them with my lighter. And in this moment, I'm happy. It's little bitty things that are like, just that song is not about UFOs, but it's just sprinkled in there to be like, maybe he knows something.
But you know what though? As a musician yourself, you must. I was talking about this the other day about musicians. Musicians do seem to have a high level of, interest in these subjects, or they have when you get to talk to them, they have their own experiences about it. So the music and it has an importance in this field.
Yeah.
And I think and I think like people like yourself, you'll be able to push that forward much more profoundly.
Yeah, mine is all that, so it's kind of niche. Like, okay, I'm not doing songs about women and all that. Like, all my stuff is about spirituality. But it is cool too when you see a celebrity, a mainstream person who does a song, and there's so much out there, and it's really cool to. And it's maybe just a one-liner, but it something deeper is there, and there's so many that helped me because I didn't to listen to those songs and there's pieces of the puzzle that are sprinkled out. It's out there.
But do you feel sometimes when you're writing the music, do you feel sometimes you're being channeled? You're channeling.
Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes it's just flowing, and sometimes it's not coming from you, or maybe it's coming from an higher aspect of you, like your oversoul?
Yeah, for sure. Especially in hindsight, like after the fact, it's out, and I'm like, there's no way out. Like, that's too good. You like, because it's weird because it speaks to me. It's like someone else even speaking to me personally. Like, hey, you're not alone. Great things are coming. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up. It's one thing to speak it to people, but it's something it's God, it's the universe echoing it to us. So to be a part of that, to be a conduit for that, you know what I'm saying? That energy, that hope, that creativity is priceless. But yeah, I definitely, I'll tell you this, this is what I've been experiencing lately because there's power in writing, even the books and all of that. I'll write some stuff about my experiences and about my beliefs one way, and it may be very surface level, but it sounds deep and profound. But for me, I just meant something in passing. And then I record it, write it, put it out. It goes out into the atmosphere. People sing it, right? And then later, like those same lyrics, I experience them at a way deeper level of like a dimension, if you will. Like, I meant it at the surface, but then I experienced it times 10, that I didn't even know was like really possible. So that's been interesting to write something, create it, and then it comes back, to visit you at a deeper level,
Have you always had that? Have you always had this feeling to be creative in this way?
Yeah. But it's, we don't know that we can kind of work with the universe, you know what I'm saying, to create something, to put it. It was just like, being expressive, and then the things come back, your words come back to visit you, as you think, as you speak, you're creating. It's a part of the magical beings that we are. But yeah, once like, hold on, it's a thing, you can experiment with it and get better at it. That's when it gets interesting.
It's very much like what the archangels say, though. It's about your, as being a human being or a spiritual human being, for us to make those choices. We have a choice in how we want to present ourselves and how we want, as mediums to focus this energy through us for other people to experience it. And for a lot of us, like yourself and others listening, we choose to do it in a positive way to help others, and to heal ourselves and others and to educate others. But as a collective consciousness, we're individuals doing it, but we are a collective consciousness as well, that we are all experiencing this together. And we all want really, I think a lot of us now are on the same page. We all want the same things. We don't want this control by governments. and then telling us what we need or what's good for us. We're spiritual beings. We're adults. We're to some degree immortal. And I eventually I'll talk about immortality as well. And I am an alchemist from which continues on through bloodlines. But the military seek, especially in these projects, they're very much interested in transhumanism. So, using artificial intelligence and the biology to create immortal beings. But, because they can't reach the true essence of immortality, it goes through initiations, through a process that you have to follow. And a lot of the time it goes from lifetime to lifetime. But everyone, human beings, everyone has the ability to achieve this. And they're very much helped outside of the body. What you were saying, do we go to these locations? Yeah, we do. We go to these locations, but the more spiritually aware you become, the much more help you'll get in doing this, because the beings outside of the body, they want you to have this knowledge. And why shouldn't you have, of divine essence? And why wouldn't we want to have that to better ourselves and our world and the environment around us?
Yeah.
We don't need all the other stuff. Thank you very much.
Yep. And that's always been the trick. These these are cycles, and and we're spiraling, but the spiral repeats, and we've seen this all before. This isn't there's nothing new under the sun. Spirits don't die, they're just reborn and put into a different vessel, if you will. The whole reincarnation thing, or there is certain things that die, and get cast off, and it's usually the dark stuff. That's from my study and my research, and really the biblical and ancient texts. It's like the wicked, the dark souls that sin against humanity, like they get deleted at some point. So hence this so-called transhumanism thing of like, hey, we don't want to die because we're probably not coming back, kind of thing. So let's tap into immortality here and make this our kingdom.
Exactly. I mean, with the transhumanism projects, though, they've created artificial worlds, really, but they need souls to inhabit those, to go to those worlds. But like you said, they're not planning on going that way. They're not planning on going into the light. They don't want that, so they have to create their own artificial worlds. But of course, in order to do that, they have to live somehow. So that's why they're creating this technology. And they've got very, very advanced technology. Civilians have no idea what technology they have. It's way, way beyond what they think what we possess. I mean, with a lot of the technology, which is alien technology as well, they've got technology that could change the world pretty quick. They could change the environment. They could get rid of homelessness. They could help people that are struggling with their mental health, emotionally, with diseases, but they're withholding it. This technology, but whilst we're doing these podcasts with your music and other, musicians and people awakening, we can do something about this.
Yeah, we think that the government should help and should or the churches, what I'm saying, should help, but they're not, and they don't.
No,
and so it's like the ball is in our hands because we're waiting for help, but you are the help. Like you are the help that everybody's looking for to tap in, to remember, like you said, remember the ancient healing technologies, the ancient tones and frequencies that delete depression. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that. And it's available and it's coming back to us. We're having dreams of this. We're being taught this, but we're waiting like, why doesn't the church pick it up? Why doesn't the government teach this in school? Why don't they teach about nutrition? And why do they only treat dis-ease and not help prevent it? These kind of things. And you can see it because you're supposed to be the one to step up and do it. They're not going to do it. They're in it for profit and really don't care about you. They don't.
No, they don't. You're right. I mean, the churches, I mean, this is not to say, I mean, there are good people in churches and individuals, but a lot of the time, again, they're caught up in the deception. They don't really know. They think they're doing good. They do their own good in their own ways, but overall, for the establishments,
as good as they can.
As good as they can. They do good. Some people do good, but the overall establishments, they don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want to help people waking up. That's not what they want. They'll lose out on lots of stuff if they do that. So then it's it's us as communities to come together and to build, a new world for ourselves. I mean, we're using ancient knowledge. And, in some degree, some aspects of, spiritual technology. And technology is just a piece really of, equipment. It can be used either way, can't it? To help or to hinder, but for us, we want to help. We want to, create something beautiful, something better for all of us. And if they don't want to be part of that, let them go off into their own silly little worlds and have their, do whatever it is they want to do there and leave us to it.
Yeah. As long as I'm here, as long as I have access, I'm gonna try my best and encourage others to do the same. And it is working. There is no trying. It's like Yoda. There is no try. Just do it, man. And it's working.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's the way forward. But I think, like you were saying about frequencies, there's going to be a lot more about frequencies coming out as we go forward, and for somebody like yourself, that's going to be amazing as well.
Oh yeah, no, I'm already experimenting with it in my music and creating meditation music and things like that, and really experimented with it in my life first, so that I can I can't just read a book or whatever. How can we practice this? How can I be a scientist to get results, like of healing, of growth? Even there's so much out there, man, that all the technology is there and it's natural. It's natural. It's in you said that once you can like see more, believe more, be trusted with more, then more is given to you. And and they'll work with you more and in different ways, right? The good ones. Even and the bad ones too. The more darker you become, the more dark energy they're gonna call upon you to create in the world. But you start to see, I say their hand, the hand of God, whatever you want to call it. You start to see it in everything. So it's not just in the ship. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time you can't even see a ship. So you got to be able to feel or hear or whatever. So there is a little bit. Now you got to practice. Okay, I feel something's going on. I hear a ringing in my ears. That tone that I've been experimenting with, it's in my ear every morning from 5 to 6 a.m. And then it goes away. What is it? And it's up for you to experiment and research and find out what it is and get good at it. And then you can share and teach others how to do it. And it's in everything that we look at. And that's been the most profound and fun thing for me lately, because in our minds, we have certain things that are like, this is the cool part. The cool part is when a ship comes down. Well, if a ship comes down, a good guy, they might get shot down. And so they can't speak to you that way. But they are in tune with the animals. They are in tune with the insects. So learn to speak their language. Hey, that's where I've been, doing that, and allowing the animals and the birds and the wind and the water and everything, the elements to teach you. And that's been next level. And not looking at it as something mundane or that's just a bird or that's just the wind.
No. Yeah. So I agree totally with you. I'm on the same page as you with all that. Yeah. And I think pretty much most of the people are really that are listening to your music, that are listening to what we're talking about. We all want the same thing. We're learning and we're opening our hearts to a better understanding of ourselves and what's better for our world. I mean, the powers that be, that they don't have the same interests as us as for the planet. They want to hold it back. They want it for themselves. When you have a new wave of energy, or not a new wave, but an ancient wave of energy resurfacing on this planet, you know, it's going to be hard for them to stop that.
Yeah.
It's because the thing is, you know, every now and again, like you said, we have these waves of energy, and we experience this, and the planetary body itself evolves, even if we don't actually see it. It does evolve. You know, what they're doing is stopping natural law. So if a planet is ready to evolve, and you know, not everyone, but a greater part, hopefully, of the Earth, of human beings, evolve with that energy, you know, there's going to be other beings out there that won't be too happy about that. The Earth itself won't be happy about that because, you know, they want to go to the next level. You know, so I think what we're looking at, though, eventually is pretty much checkmate for a lot of these darker energies that have existed for a long time here. It's time now to, you know, to knock them off the board so that we can continue our own spiritual destiny. You know, but going forward, when all is said and done, I think, you know, we've got a great future.
Yeah. We have to be the ones to override that narrative, you know, because it's just a belief. It's just, you know, whatever you believe, you receive. If you believe that there's negativity coming and it's about to end and your energy is going to project, you're going to project it out of you because that's how powerful you are. And if you have a big enough platform or a loud enough mouth, you'll get others to believe you.
There's negativity there, but negativity doesn't necessarily mean the end game. Negativity is obviously, there's always, you know, different forces opposing one another, but it's how you deal with that and what we can deal with it. Because we're having, you know, because for instance, you know, you're having, I've had lots of dark stuff happening to me. I still do, but, and there is a but, I choose not to allow it to take me over. I have the choice to say no to it, you know, to rise above it, to help others. And that's what I'm doing from my books and from my talks, you know, and meeting like-minded people. I think sometimes soul families like yourself, you know, we're all coming together now for the same reasons, and enough's enough.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. I'm, you know, it's hard to be hopeful sometimes, but I totally am. You know, you have to be. I've been both. And that's how you know that you can choose, right? Now you can experiment with it. If you've expected bad stuff, if you've done bad stuff, if you've expected good stuff and you've done good stuff, then you know that, okay, I can choose, you know, to bring something beautiful to this world, you know?
We can take the dark, energies, experiences. We can then, you know, we can take the good stuff from the bad, what we've learned from that, you know, the knowledge and the wisdom, and then we can use that as a choice to make better decisions. So we don't have to follow their bloody narrative. You know, we can do a lot good. And I mean, each one of us, you know, as human beings, we do have these universal traits. We have universal experiences. And that's often, especially with music, that's what brings us together as, you know, as one.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have that. A lot of these other races don't have that. Human beings are unique in a lot of the planetary bodies, and even multidimensional. We are unique in our what we can do, and also in our future potential to do better. You know, much better than I guess a lot of other planetary bodies. We just are. We are very close to, you know, what, if you want to call it God or creation or the Creator. We have a good relationship, should we say, with the Creator or the creative energy. You know, so as each one of us, you know, each one of us are again, we're looking to do good. We're looking to do something that's really, really special.
Yep. It hits different. I always say it hits different when we do it. You know, there's one, and that's the power of a narrative. Like, I don't think that they have any power really, you know, but they can, like, the true power is to convince us that they do. It's and then to get us to voice their narrative. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people who do that, as far as like the end of
Well,
the
they
world
have-
scenarios, evil is, there's only evil in this world is cursed. This world is negative. There's only demons running. No, let's, there's a portion and parts of it, but yeah, but like, how about if you change your wording? There's parts that angels run too. There's
Sure.
great things in there. It depends on what you're focusing on, and then when you say it, you create it. And
They do have. I mean, there is evil in the world. We know this. We see it every day. And there's evil that exists outside of a lot of the boundaries of
all things
the
exist. Is what I'm saying. Everything.
The general
exists.
public, exactly. But what you're saying is, yeah, it's true. I mean, there is that, but there's the other side.
Yeah,
as well.
no, I'm not putting my head in the sand and say that all this. No, everything's happening right now, and then you have to choose what you want to bring in or what you want to focus on.
And what you're saying is correct. They want us. They do have some sort of power over people, but that's not the end. That's not the end of the story. That they want you to think they got more over you. The bottom line is they're using technology to control. And it does work, but it's not the end game. Where we're still going to win.
Yep, you was kind of breaking up there, but I did hear what you were using technology to control, but we're still going to win, and that's what we need to know.
But they exactly. They have technology. I mean, even with the Melee projects and programs, and you had the Montauk project and the Monarch project, and there's so many projects, to name here. But a lot of the time, it is, they do use technology in a way that can control the human mind and the human being. It does work, but as we said before, going back to, what I describe as source code. This is something that they're looking for in starseeds. They can't find it. They will never find it. That's another show in itself. But and they want us to think that we are less than what we are, that we don't know nothing, that we can't control our own destinies, that that they need to lead us by the hand as their slaves and stuff. But nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah.
And I think as we go forward, everyone that's awakening or becoming aware, especially starseeds, that have their, they have their mission objectives to do here from the Creator, and people will see more and more now. This is all smoke and mirrors. We human beings, individually as a collective, have so much more power, and choice to do better. And not to not to put up with their rubbish, regardless. I mean, we've all suffered in some way, shape, or form in our lives, and but again, it doesn't mean that we have to be angry or bitter. We can be better.
Yeah. Try to make you bitter, but we've grown better. That's it, man. Hey, I've enjoyed this talk, man. Where can people go to find out, get your book and find out more about what you got going on?
Yeah, my book's available as usual on Amazon. It's on paperback, hardcover. It's on audio, and it's on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. But you can reach me on my email if you want to reach out to me. It's Michael Kameron, lowercase, 2023 @gmail.com. And also, you can find me on the Amazon itself. I've got my own site on there, authors page, so you can tap onto and see any updates on there of any future projects that I'll be doing coming up. Or you can find me on Facebook, which is Michael Kameron, and that's Cameron with a K. And you can reach out to me on there if you want to have a chat or to share experiences.
Heck yeah. Well, guys, make sure you check in with him. Check out his work. Go to his Kindle, Amazon page. Follow his work there. You can click follow and get the updates and all that good stuff. Check out his book there. And appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on and keep doing what you're doing, man. you know, share
Thank
your
you,
story, and you know, a little goes a long way.
I'd like to listen to some of your music as well.
Yeah, man, just type in Truth Seeker on any platform, and the newest that song, the newest one is called Unspeakable is the new EP. It's 4 songs, but that one song I was talking about, we shot a music video for. It's a cool video, but it's called Lonely Road, and it just talks about walking this road, feeling like it's lonely, but we're not alone. And we got friends in high places. That. We got friends with us, you know. But it's, even though it feels lonely, we're not alone, kind of thing. And yeah, but I've done so many songs over the years that just talk about all of this phenomena, you know, summoning UFOs and dream state stuff, astral projection, you know, all the fun stuff, and the dark stuff too. We talk about the demons and the, you know, the wicked government and all that kind of stuff. So check it out, man, for sure. It's like a music for the movement. It's a soundtrack for spirituality.
I love that.
Hey, I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah,
we'll connect again soon, bro. Thank you.
Speak to you later.
All right, many blessings.
And to you. Bye.
All right.